Hey everybody, this is John Highley. What we're going to be working on today is a 2012 Dodge Challenger, and this is the quarter panel dent. As you can see, we got a nice crown buckle up here at the top of the dent. And if you start to notice, I'm going to point out here that down at the bottom has also left kind of a buckle as well. So you definitely know the body line has hit in hard if it created a strong crown at the top and the bottom like that. A lot of metal to lay down during the pushing process. But I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how we're going to gain access to this. This is going to be a combo repair. We're going to be doing a little bit of pulling with the glue pulling system and a little bit of pushing. First thing you want to do is take out that screw. That's really the only screw in the panel. Go ahead and take that out. And at this point, I always like to remove this thing because when you're taking the panel off, it can fall off. Remove the seat, you just pull from the back, and I'm going to go ahead and go around to the other side here. Kind of just grabbed behind the seat and pulled up on it. And you're going to see why why that works that way. So now I'm going to grab into, again on this side, the back of the seat and just pull straight on up. And what that does, it's kind of sunk in there by, see them hooks right there at the bottom? It's actually sunk in and anchored there and then kind of pushed down into the seat and wedged into place. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that and just get it out of the car. It's probably one of the easier seats that you're ever going to remove. Now just taking a look at the interior panel there. Once you pull the back seat down, you take out a plastic plug, connects that panel, and then you literally just inject the panel out. You see all the clips there? They just literally clip straight into the inside of the panel, and you pull on it and just pull it right on out. Now then this exposes this hole. You think you're super lucky because you got a couple holes here like that one right there and this giant hole here. Well, that's the first layer. What we're actually going to be showing you here is there's your second layer. You have a little bit of an opening up there, which is actually above the damage that we looked at, getting closer to the window. And you might be able to snake something. If you had a dent right behind there, you could snake something through that hole that we keep looking at there. But the dent would have to be perfectly placed. You got a lower hole way down there at the bottom, and then right in the middle, you got another hole. And sorry about the shaky camera here. It's trying to get a good. There it is, right there. It's got some foam stuff there, pretty easy to cut through, but it is kind of skin tight. You know, you're going to find yourself, even with a whale tail, leaving snail trails while you're going up through there, but we'll be checking that out here a little bit later. We're actually going to be starting this off with a glue pull tutorial, and as you can see here, I actually drew a diagram on here showing you of what we have to work with as far as the access goes on that body line. And that right there, taking the whale tail up and that skin tight, is our only available access to actually be able to push on this. But again, we're going to go into a little bit of glue pulling first. We're going to move a bunch of metal along before we get into that difficult access that is just wrist bending. Trying to push that out with the whale tail. So let's just see what we can do with the glue, and we'll get to that here a little bit later. As you can see, I dropped a nickel size Atlas tab directly into the center of the body line. Take a pull, and I mean, you can tell already that it has shrunk the damage quite a bit. Definitely going to have an impact point here, but let's take a look at it. There we go. Definitely got it going in the right direction. Probably shrank it down by 50%. And let's take a look at that there. You can still see our big crown at the top. It kind of loosened up the lower crown a little bit, but we're still going to have some work to do there. So at this point, what do? We do some crown relief. And this right here is a soft tip knockdown. Not looking for super sharp hits here, but I'm just looking to kind of slowly lay down that really strong crown at the top. If you notice, I'm not going into big hits. I'm kind of just riding up and down that thing. You know, I'll probably make, 10 passes across it, and then you'll begin to start to see a little bit of movement. And in my experience, a crown like this is always going to break up a little bit. You know, it's some strong, tense metal there, but that's all right. Now we've definitely loosened it up a little bit here at the top. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the light so you can see the bottom of the dent. I'm just going to go into opening that up a little bit. Got a little bit of a hidden crown on the other side of that line, and now you see me going after the kind of exchanging back and forth from the hidden crown to the main crown around the dent. Now I'm opening up the body line a little bit. It's always nice when you're doing glue pulling. You're going to find yourself actually opening up that body line. Takes a lot of the tension off the edges. And now we'll just see a little bit more of that body line opening up there. I'd like to get that camera adjusted just right for you. I want you to see exactly what I'm seeing. In fact, a lot of folks don't know this, but a lot of times when I'm doing this work, I'm actually looking through the camera. So I've got the camera positioned, and I'm looking through the LCD screen while I'm actually making these hits. Trying to get more realistic with it each and every video, and I'm even learning a little bit to look through the camera and blend at the same time. We'll do a little bit of that in this video. We'll see that a little bit later. But again, just opening it up, trying to soften up that impact point. And there you see it. Definitely starting to move a little bit of that metal around. Got a little bit up higher into it, but there's hidden crowns on these things that you just need to lay down to get the tension off of it. Going in for another pull here. Looks like I'm using a nickel size Atlas tab. Just got to give it a little moment to set up there. Not a huge pull. It's a little bit hard to bite on a body line, but we definitely move some metal. Now there's that little low back there in the back. Go after that. Get ready to hook up and take our pull. Got a little bit of a pull. That's a soft area though. It only takes a little bit of a pull to move some metal. Alright everybody, so now we're going to be moving in with a little bit of a sharper knockdown, just trying to blend out a lot of these little spots in between here. When I say blend with a sharper tip knockdown, basically what I mean is I'm trying to match the pattern of the surrounding area. So essentially we got a bunch of little highs and little lows and all that. I'm going in and pinpointing little bitty highs and trying to blend them in to the surrounding panel. So there's a lot of times people think blending is just a finishing technique, but a lot of times I will be, kind of using that finishing technique in the middle of my repair. And I know some folks would think that you're trying to blend it into the natural shape of the panel, but it's going to take different shapes throughout different parts of the repair. So you want to try to bring it up symmetrical, try to bring it up with balance, and I call that blending in the middle of the repair. So it's very, very similar to finishing work. You're just kind of getting things straightened out and getting everything nice and symmetrical so you can begin moving some of the deeper parts of the damage. So as you can see there, I'm working the line a little bit. Definitely want to loosen up that line. We're going to be breaking out one of my favorite crease pulling tabs, the Atlas Oval. The reason why I like this, it covers a nice circumference on that panel. And a lot of times I don't know if you noticed, but there's probably a little bit of glue on there previously, and it just gives it that cushion that you need to actually kind of cover that center and then also bind itself to the surrounding panel. There we go. Nice pull there. We still got a little hole to deal with, but that is common, especially how big this this dent is. Now these body lines, they can be completely glue pulled, but you know, on one this big, I'm hesitant to try it. It'd take a lot of time for sure, and we're going to take advantage of everything that we can take advantage of to get this thing done nice and clean and efficiently. So again, I'm just kind of blending out that surrounding circumference, trying to get a natural curve into the different parts of the panel before we go into our next game plan here. Opening up that line a little bit again, and there you have it. So there's another view here, kind of the camera moved the camera a little bit here. I want to show you that now I'm actually throwing a tab below the line. So once you try to get that line up in the center, you might go above it, you might go below it, and all in all, that's just the way you can actually bring it up symmetrical. Now that I'm actually laying it below it, I'm definitely going to get much more bite in this area. And when I say bite, I mean it's just going to stick to the panel better because it's on a flat surface. That's sometimes the problem with glue pulling body lines, is that you can imagine it's like a teeter-totter there. The line is a mountain peak, and it doesn't have much surface area real estate for a tab to sit directly on it and adhere. So we got a little bit of a pull there at the bottom of the line. Going with the hammer and knockdown, again, knocking and blending that area out. It's coming along real good so far. About as good as one of these body lines can come along at this point in the repair, especially we have not touched it with a tool. So this is all glue pulling. Again, opening that line up a little bit. And we're going after that back one over there. So as we tapped out that real strong crown up there, it got a little bit aggressive, I think, with the soft tip knockdown back there towards the back and put in a couple little lows. But again, that's common. Wish everything could come out absolutely perfect throughout these repairs, but in all reality, when you're getting into advanced damage, it is, it's not as glorified as a before and after photo. A lot of work between that before and after photo. So there I am, just kind of, first time I took the sharp tip into that side of the dent, and I'm kind of going back and forth. And when I look at these dents, I just look at them and say, a little bit there, I need a little bit there, need more there, need to pull up there, need a little bit of tap down there, and just a... All right, everybody, so now we have our body line. We're going to be jumping into the meat and potatoes of this thing. And I'm going to start off with this pink whale tail here. It's a Dentcraft, the smallest one, the pink-handled one. And we're going to start off with that, with the pushing procedure. And when I say start off, it's because I'm going to switch to a longer PDR finesse one here in a little while, but that's because this one barely gets to this dent. I mean, it's really a little bit too short for this application, but I kind of started off that way, and the head is a little bit too small. The PDR finesse one is a little bit longer, but as you can see, I'm definitely in there making some nice tiny little pushes and kind of tightening up that little hole that we have left, which is the last divot in the body line. Now there you go. See, I figure out that I need a longer whale tail, and we're going to take it in there. It's just a little bit wider. I don't know if you noticed that from the photo, but definitely the tip is a little bit wider. And when you literally go up underneath that brace in there that we looked at earlier, and I'm going to give you a shot of what the tool looks like working in there. It is skin tight, and then it opens up awful wide, like a wide cavity on the inside. So you can automatically see that I'm getting better pushes with this tool. Just that little bit of additional real estate on the width of the head of the tool, and that it's a little bit longer. It's allowing me to move my hand around in there much more fluently. So I literally have my hand wrapped around and inside of that larger hole, and I've shoved this whale tail up from the bottom, and I'm kind of twist pushing with my thumb. Just little by little pushing these spots up. This is a difficult area to maneuver around in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is not straightforward whatsoever, but as you can see, it definitely can be done. So again, we're exchanging a little bit of pushing, a little bit of hammer and knockdown work. Absolutely for sure want to use the sharper tip tool here because my pushes are a little bit sharper, and they just kind of complement each other during this repair process. There we go. So it's basically a little bit smaller. And here's the video here. Here's the part of the video where I'm showing you how this is happening. I've got it shoved up in there. It's really tight right there. Even when I'm making twist with my thumb, that is exactly how I'm pushing in there. Very hard to keep control of the tip of your tool. But now, back again to the front side of the dent. What I'm basically trying to aim for is that little hole right there in the center of the body line. I'm trying to get that little bitty spot right there pushed up, but I do not want to push it too aggressively to the point where it's going to crack the paint. I mean, it's very common on a dent like this that I'm going to have to wet sand and buff the paint out towards the end, so my pushes are I mean, I wouldn't call them super aggressive, but definitely I'm working with the knowledge that I am going to be kind of toning down that finish at the end with a little bit of wet sanding and polishing. Again, going in for some knockdown work. My primary focus at this point is right there on that line. You definitely want to kind of open it up, do some pushes, open it up, and little by little you'll see that hole in the center begin to disappear. So now we're going to be going back in to a knockdown session. But little by little, as you can see, the surrounding perimeter is beginning to blend in. Definitely got a little dots up above there. I'm tapping around right now. If you notice when I tap around that, they become much more subtle. That's because there's little micro highs around them. There's a little close-up view of it here. And so again, same deal. I've got the whale tail on the inside of the panel, and I'm just kind of moving it around. You can see me targeting that little bitty low right there. Now I'm going across this whole panel and targeting every single little low spot that I can target. Very difficult here. I mean, literally my arm is wrapped around the inside of that panel, and I'm just getting these little thumb pushes here. Kind of hard to grab, get your hand around the tool as well. So you will find that going through this access is definitely possible, but it is definitely an advanced thing. You know, you're going to want to be much more advanced in paintless dent removal to tackle something like this, just due to the hand-eye coordination that you must develop to keep your tools nice and steady and pinpoint little bitty spots. So again, an exchange between the knockdown and pushing. Definitely a common theme through a lot of these advanced tutorials. You know, you're going to find that you may use your knockdown just as much or even more than the hand tools that you're using here. So there I am. I'm going to see how far I'm going out. I'm actually toning down that line a little bit, trying to set a nice little blend, and still doing some work there below the crown. All right, everybody. So now we're down to the point where we're really starting to see it dial itself in. Definitely getting to the point where I'm going to want to go ahead and go in there and start retexturing that area that we had worked by doing a little bit of wet sanding and polishing. I'm a fan of that on stretched dents. There's a lot of times most folks wouldn't even notice some of the little ripples and waves right here, but I like mine to look real smooth and clean. So we'll be putting a little bit of paper on that. And be careful if you decide to do any type of finger sanding whatsoever, is what I'm doing here. I've been doing this for years, so I know exactly how far I can go with it. And I'm actually using a piece of sandpaper that's 2000 grit and literally has probably been used 2,000 times. So it's very, very easy on the finish. I like to buff things out by hand. You got to put a little bit of elbow grease into it, but a little bit of hand polishing can go a long way and clean that finish up real nice. I kind of jumped ahead on the video there. I probably polished on that thing for a couple minutes, but now you can see the difference of the texture on that panel. Now it's not perfectly done yet, but that little bit of wet sanding did begin to expose some little lows that are evident that I couldn't see prior to it. Kind of look more like a little textured area opposed to a couple little nice lows. You'll notice that when you do that wet sanding, it cleans your canvas a little bit. And now I spotted a crown down there at the bottom, and we're doing a little bit of blending here. And this is where I'm looking through the camera while I'm using this blending hammer. So I'm not looking at the panel with my eyes to the panel. I'm actually looking through the LCD screen of the camera because I want you to see what I see. Now here's a little view of exactly what I do when I stand way, way back, and I'm trying to get my head as far away as possible so I can see that subtle wave in the panel. So there we go, kind of showing you there what we got going on as far as that lower crown. And I spotted some little mishits that I made with the hammer, and we're going to have to go in and dial them little spots. Going to have to dial them little spots in. At this point, I'm going right back into sending that whale tail right up in there and pushing them out. Kind of going to be pushing the surrounding area as well. There's other couple little lows that I begin to notice while I'm in there doing some push work. But as you can see, I'm trying to hit right on the money as far as that little low right there. And now we're going to go ahead and go into a knockdown session and take a look and see exactly how it looks. Let's go ahead and tap out that little high, and it's going to blend out rather nicely. Going to go ahead and go back in and just hit that spot right there. You can see that I tapped it out a little bit and there was still a little low there. And now going in for some finishing work. Just kind of, this is when I'm actually doing more of a finish blending. I'm looking all the way across that panel and just trying to find little bitty micro highs and little bitty lows, and I'm going to tap and blend each and every one of them out. So there you have it. Showing you right here exactly what the finished product here is looking like. And this right here is in the light. It's definitely, I would never call a dent like this absolutely flawless, but it's definitely was something that the customer just absolutely loved. Now, if you take a look at this here in the natural, it'll give you more of an idea of what a client or a customer is going to be looking at on a repair like this. This gentleman was very, very picky, and this right here is normally what they're going to do with their head. They're going to take it down and look at it from all these reflective angles. They're going to look at natural reflections. And as you can see there from the big old dent we had, it is it's definitely good enough for me, and it was absolutely good enough for him. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this tutorial here, and that is a bodyline repair on a 2012 Dodge Challenger.